I chose the more treacherous seaward route, for I had no choice. There was precious little width to be had on this path, and in some spots it was little more than a shaly rock-cut ledge about 10 inches or a foot wide. Far below, I heard the crash of waves on jagged rocks. Dicey, to put it mildly. The sheer face of the vertical rock wall to my right seemed to bulge, animated, as if it wished to push my body out into space. A trick of mind? I inched along, trying to ignore the rising bile of panic and the agitated sea waiting to embrace me. Not once, but thrice, I considered turning back, only to realize that I had passed the point of no return. At last I came to a spot where could be seen, on a jutting finger of rock, a warm glow of yellow lights in the rainy gloom. The beckoning 2-story house on that stony promontory was aglow with promised warmth and food. My steps quickened. I pushed inside the inn's heavy wooden door and found old Jack Tar himself, clay-piped and pigtailed, sitting in silence by the fire. I pulled up a chair and introduced myself. Had I the good fortune of speaking to Mr. Martin Hornby? I inquired with a smile. "Aye, I'm Hornby," he said, removing his pipe. After a long silence in which clouds of geniality seemed to float above the man's head, he spoke. "Weather's slowed you up, I reckon," he stated, and I could feel his inspection of my person. He himself was a sturdy, handsome figure, who looked to be in his late 80s. He wore faded breeches and a ragged woolen fisherman's sweater much mended. He had a full head of snow-white hair, and his fine leathered features were worn by years of wind and water. But in the firelight his twinkling blue eyes still held a sparkling clarity of youth, and I was glad of my perseverance on that final narrow ledge. "You've come a long way, Mr. Tolliver." "Indeed, sir, I have," I nodded. "Now, as a student of history, I have a keen interest in your encounter with the French off this island, Mr. Hornby. And I'd appreciate your recollections on that subject, if you'd be so kind." "Aye," Hornby said, and then he fell silent. "I'm the last one, so I suppose I should tell it, if it's to be told at all, if my memory's up to it, of course." He gave a hearty shout for his barman in the next room, ordering food and ale. The drinks soon arrived along with the steaming meat pie for me, and we both sipped, staring into the merry blaze, each alone with his thoughts. Mine, at the moment, were solely of my poor tingling feet, more painful in the thawing than the freezing. And suddenly, without warning, the man began to speak, eyeing me in a curious manner. "I was one of Captain McIver's powder monkeys, you see, back in those glorious days, and—" "Powder monkeys?" I interrupted, unfamiliar with the term. "But boys who would ferry black powder from the holes below up to the gun crews when things got spicy. Listen, I'll tell you how it all started, Mr. Tolliver, if you want to start there at the beginning." I nodded, smiling encouragement, discreetly whipping my pen and a well-worn leather notebook from my pocket. "We had a fair wind home to Portsmouth en route from our station in the West Indies, where we'd recently captured a Portuguese," Martin Hornby began. "A spy." "A spy?" "Aye, one much encouraged to speak his mind to avoid the tar pot and the cat-o'-nine-tails during the crossing. We eventually learned from his lips of a wicked plot hatched in the evil brain of Billy Blood, the turncoat captain of the French frigate." "That would be Captain William Blood?" "Few alive today have heard the name, sir, but old Bill was a holy terror in his day. Gave Lord Nelson fits at every turning he did. His plot was this: our natural enemy, the King of Spain, and the scurrilous French meant to join their naval forces and surprise Nelson en route to Trafalgar, and to send the outnumbered British fleet to the bottom. It would have worked, too, had it not been for the heroism of our captain, and a few ship's passengers." "Passengers?" "Hawke was his name, Lord Hawke, a peer of the realm, but an adventurous sort, being descended directly